Shalom, shalom,
Shalom,
family,
shalom, family.
and welcome back. This is Brother Maurice.
And this is Blessed by Yah.
Today, we're coming with another lesson. This is going to be part 2 in the series of Judgment and Purification of Mankind. So the last video, we looked at the time of judgment. This video, we're going to be talking about the battle of worldviews. The last video primarily came out of the Third Testament, chapter 53. This video is going to primarily come from the Third Testament, chapter 54. And some of the areas that we're going to cover in this video will be spiritual struggles before the kingdom of peace of Christ on earth,
The struggles for spiritual dominance on earth,
the fight against the spiritual teachings,
ignoring or fighting spirit manifestations, and spiritual healings.
and once again, this will be primarily coming from the Third Testament, chapter 54. And we're going to begin starting with verse number 1. Just as I announced my return to you in the second time, so I now announce to you the war of creeds, worldviews, and religions as a pioneering omen of the establishment of my kingdom of spiritualization among men. So this is another thing that we need to pay attention to, watch what is taking place. So a lot of things is going to be taking place with the things that we know that are true, and a lot of the false things that are being taught around the world. And this, family, is another war. Verse number 2.
My word will destroy like a sword of flames the fanaticism that has embraced men for centuries, will tear apart the evil of their ignorance and show the bright, radiant way that leads to me.
Okay, so did you hear what's going to happen? It's the word. The word is what is going to destroy. And what's it going to destroy? Fanaticism. And what is it going to tear apart? It's going to tear apart the veil of ignorance. Then we'll have the light that brings us forward and leads us to the Father.
For the peace of my kingdom to be established among men, the war of doctrines, of faith, religion, and ideologies must first be fought out. A conflict in which some set my name and truth against the false idols of others, and in which one teaching fights the other.
So with this here that we see there is going to be a fight. This does not mean that we go out and battle against others. We need to remember this. Our job is to give out the word, and we give it out in peace. Let's go ahead and continue.
This will be the new battle, the spiritual battle, in which the false gods will fall from their pedestals, and every lie that you have thought true will be exposed forever. Then you will experience how out of that chaos of confusion and darkness, the truth will rise radiantly.
So, what Blessed by Yah, what she just read, it says, this will be the new battle, the spiritual battle. And that's why I said we give the word, but it's not for us to go and fight with others about this word. We see now that it is a spiritual battle. And this is eventually going to break up everything. And it's going to lead the people to the truth.
Spiritualism provokes a worldwide battle among worldviews, creeds, and religious cults. But after this battle, this teaching will bring blessed peace to men, which they so badly need, and will cause the sun of my divine justice to shine upon all spirit beings.
So did you hear that? Blessed by Yah said, well, not she said, she read where it says, this teaching will bring blessed peace to men. Right now, a lot of people believe that there's going to be a fight, there's going to be a physical fight against Christ, a war against Christ, but everything we have to understand is spiritual. And as the world thinks that things are coming to an end, what do we see? It says this teaching will bring blessed peace to men. So out of this chaos, eventually it's going to bring us to peace.
I prepare you and warn you about this time of confusion of worldviews, so that you may be free from the inner struggle of the spirit and the torture of thoughts. For all the worldviews, doctrines, theologies, philosophies, and creeds of mankind will be shaken, symbolizing a storm, a true storm of the spirit, of whose turbulent waves you are to sail according to my will, and remain on top until the storm and darkness are over.
Okay, so did you hear this? This war that's going to take place against all these different worldviews, it says mankind will be shaken. And we read also in the book of Revelation, and Revelation unfolded, about the great earthquake. So here we can see mankind will be shaken. They're going to be shaken based off this word. This is going to be their earthquake. But here it says it's symbolizing a storm. Now listen to this. It says a true storm of the spirit. Of the spirit. And then what's going to happen eventually? Darkness will be over. Let's continue.
I give you no better recipe to get through this ordeal safely than prayer and observance of my word, whereby your faith will be continually strengthened. That battle of worldviews, that clash of beliefs and ideologies, that battle is absolutely necessary, so that all infirmities and errors that have accumulated at the bottom of every cult and institution may come to the surface.
So did you hear? It says this battle of views, of worldviews, it's necessary because it's going to bring us out of, it says, all infirmities and errors. So when you hear the word infirmities, a lot of times people believe infirmities in their body. But no, it's infirmities for our spirit. We have to remember, everything is spiritual. And everything is going to be done in order to help our spirits.
Only after this storm will a moral and spiritual cleansing of men be able to begin. For they will see the truth come to light, will recognize it, feel it in themselves, and will no longer be able to feed on imaginations of pretenses.
So after this here storm, this cleansing, what's going to happen? Doesn't the Bible say that every eye shall see him and every ear shall hear him? After this battle, the people will be able to see the truth and come to the light. And they're going to be able to recognize it and feel it in themselves. This is what's going to take place with each individual. The world is continuing. The people are going to eventually change. Verse number 11 says, just as every man voluntarily and entirely for himself makes use of the vital effect of the sun on his body, so just like you're out there getting sun and you're absorbing it, because he recognizes that material's life is based on its light and warmth and influence, so will they use from the light of truth all that they need for the preservation, strengthening, and enlightenment of their spirit. So they gave us like an analogy from what the sun does to the body and what this light of truth is going to do as it enlightens our spirit.
Verse number 12. Then a power never before felt by man will become effective, because his life will become more and more conformed to the true principles of life, the norms established by my law.
Next, we're going to take a look at the struggle for spiritual dominance on earth. Continuing with verse number 13, and it says, there is the struggle of worldviews and doctrines of faith. In this time, every man wants to be right. But who is right in this struggle of egoism and self-interest? Who is the owner of truth? If those who believe of themselves to be on a perfect way and to possess the truth are proud of it, verily I say to you, they do not yet know the way. For on it one must be humble. And it is enough that they do not recognize the truth contained in the faith of others to be no longer humble. But I told you already in the second time, blessed are the gentle and humble of heart. This is one thing that we really need to look at. When we're looking at everything that's being taught out here, how are people teaching these words? How are they teaching this word? Are they bragging and boasting that they have the truth and no one else has the truth but them? It says you cannot be proud of it. It says you must be humble. That's why it says, blessed are the gentle and humble of heart. And we have to be careful also, because everyone has a little bit of truth inside of them. And that's why we can't say, well, all you are wrong. What you're following is completely wrong. You cannot do that. Everyone, because the Father put this in all of us. So there is some truth in each and every one of us. And we have to be careful not to be prideful about this and remain humble. Verse 15.
The man who condemns the faith and conviction of his fellow men distances himself from salvation. For in his pride and recklessness, he seeks to be like his God.
Hold on just a second. I want you to listen to what she just read. The man that condemns the faith and conviction of his fellow men, it says that they distance themselves from salvation. Why? It says because his pride and recklessness. But what does his pride and recklessness does? What does it do? It says he seeks to be like his God. That does not mean he seeks to be like God. That means he seeks to be like their God. The people that they are correcting and saying that you don't have it, they are acting as if they are their God. So we have to be very careful and pay attention to what is being taught and how people teach this word. Let's continue.
You ask me what I want to achieve when I reveal myself spiritually to mankind of this time. To this I answer you. What I am striving for is your awakening to the light, your spiritualization, and your unification, since you were divided at all times. For while some have sought the treasures of the Spirit, others have devoted themselves to the love of the riches of the world, spiritualism and materialism in constant struggle. Spiritualists and materialists who could never understand each other. Verse 17. Remember when Israel, in expectation of the Messiah, saw him, it split into believers and deniers of my truth. The explanation of this example, believers were those who expected me with the Spirit.
Hold on, let's talk about this for just a second. Because we understand that the word said that Christ is going to come on the clouds. But now we also understand that Christ is actually here because this is a spiritual thing. He came in the flesh the first time to teach us this word. He's here now in the spirit again to give this word back to us. So today, when he says he's going to come on the clouds, we should all be looking for him in the spirit and the changes that are going to take place in the spirit world. But just like before, people are looking for him in the flesh to come during this time. I'm sorry. Go ahead and continue with that. Or if you want to start again.
The explanation of this is simple. Believers were those who expected me with the Spirit, and deniers were those who expected me with the sense of the flesh. These two forces will have to confront each other again.
Did you hear that? These two forces are going to have to confront each other again, and we're seeing it. We're seeing it right now. We're saying Christ is here in the spirit, and people are saying Christ is about to come in the flesh. These two forces are already coming against each other again. They're confronting each other again. Go ahead.
These two forces will have to confront each other again until truth comes to light from this struggle. The struggle will be bitter, for the more time passes, the more men love the earthly, since their science and their discoveries give them the feeling of living in a kingdom of their own, in a world created by them.
Verse number 19 says, today, every man believes to have full knowledge of the truth. Every religion claims to possess the truth. Scientists declare that they have found the truth. I tell you that no one knows the absolute truth. Did you hear that? No one knows the absolute truth, since man could not even grasp his mind, with his mind, the part that has already been revealed to him. Did you hear that? And it's funny because it's true, because we'll read something one time and we'll read it weeks or months later and we'll get more information out of it. All men carry within them a part of the truth and errors. Did you hear this? All men carry within them a part of the truth and errors, which they mix up with the light of truth. And that's why, family, every book has errors in them. There are bones in every book. The battle is drawing near, in which all these forces are fighting one another. Did you hear that? The forces are fighting one another, not the people. Since everyone wants to impose his worldview. So You have people that want to come against this word. Let them come against this word. We give the truth out, and that's it. We do not debate. We do not argue. We do not fight with them about the truth. Because when it is their time for them to wake up and come to this truth and understand this light, that's when it's going to reach them. But in the end, there will not be the victory of a human ideology, nor of a scientific theory, nor of a religious creed that asserts itself, but the harmonious union of all good views. You hear what's going to happen? The harmonious union of all good views, of a high level beliefs, all high level beliefs, of all cult forms raised to the highest spirituality, of all sciences devoted to the service of true human progress, sciences devoted to the service of true human process. Because right now, science is not devoted to no human process. Science is devoted right now to destroy the human progress. Let's go ahead. Continue.
Verse 22. I will allow people to speak and recite their beliefs, for others to publicly demonstrate their cult forms and rites,
Right.
for discussion and combat, for science to spread their most advanced theories, for all that exists hidden in every spirit to break open, come to light, and to make itself known. For near is the day of the reaper, that the day when conscience, like an inexorable sickle, cuts off by the root all that is false in the heart of men.
So, we see about this reaper. What's going to happen when the day of the reaper comes? That day when the conscience starts to cut off everything that is false in the heart of man. Do you see the purification that is slowly going to take place? Let's talk about the fight against the spiritual teachings. Still in the Third Testament, chapter 54, verse 23.
The clergy of this time are dressed royally to symbolically officiate at the sacrifice of Jesus. And although they take my name and my substitution, I discover that their minds are confused, their hearts stirred by the storms of intrigue and passions. There is not one who proclaims as a prophet.
There's not what?
There is not one who proclaims as a prophet that I am among the people the people of this time. They will experience great suffering because there is no spiritual armament among them. Where is the fulfillment of those who are vowed before Jesus to follow this trial? Where are the followers of my apostles? Is there any like John, who was among the first, or Paul, who was among the followers?
So you see what's happening. It says, there is not one who proclaims to be a prophet today that says that he's here. There's not one who proclaims as a prophet that I am among the people of this time. There's no spiritual armament among them. And then he's saying, where is the fulfillment of those who have vowed before Yeshua to follow his trial? Oh, there were people that vowed to follow him? Let's go to the Third Testament. We want to look at chapter 54. Chapter 44. And I'm going to read from verse 5 down through 7. It says, "Blessed is he who studies my laws and knows how to unite them with human laws into one, for he will be healthy, strong, generous, and happy. I do not tell you to turn away from your earthly duties or from the healthy pleasures of the heart and the senses. I only ask you to renounce that which poisons your spirit and makes your body sick." Poisons the spirit and makes our body sick. "He who invites within the law does what his conscience prescribes." Are you able to listen to your conscience? Can you hear from the Holy Spirit for yourself? "He who spurns the permitted pleasures in order to throw himself into the forbidden pleasures, even in the moments of greatest pleasure, wonders why he is not happy, nor finds peace." The world is searching. Everyone is out there searching for something, and they cannot find peace. It says, "For from pleasure to pleasure, he sinks deeper and deeper until he perishes in the abyss, without finding true satisfaction for his heart and spirit." This life, family, it affords us experiences. And as we go through these different experiences, we understand what we should do and what we should not do, because we learn through experience. Let's take a look at the sealed portion, chapter 17, starting at verse 17. We're going to read 17 and 18. It says, "And without force or intervention, God or he has granted unto us the freedom to live out the days of our probation, as we feel so compelled, according to our individual desires of happiness. And because he hath created us and hath given us this free agency to act according to the dictates of our conscience." Did you hear this? He gave us this free agency so we could act according to the dictates of our own conscience. "Yea, because we did not have a choice in our own creation or in the creation of our own spirit, he hath granted unto us all things that are necessary so that we might fulfill the desires of our happiness." Verse 18, "And he hath granted unto us all the gift of mortality." He's granted unto us all the gift of life in this physical body, which gift he hath given unto us so that we may understand this happiness that we desire, and that we may be able to recognize the good by experiencing the bad. And it is in this way that all knowledge is received. For without opposition in all things, nothing can be understood and experienced. And for this reason, he hath given unto us mortality.
Let's look at the Third Testament, chapter 34, verse 55. "The way of man's freedom of will, his rule on earth, the victories of his arrogance, the coercion which he sometimes imposes by his use of force, are so fleeting in comparison with eternity that they can, in a certain way, change the divine plans. But tomorrow, or in the course of their execution, the will of my spirit will reveal itself more and more over all beings, letting the good exist and removing the unclean. The time will come when the limits of this world will be lifted by love, and when the worlds will come closer to each other through spiritualization. Until then, the struggle between conscience and freedom of will continue, which man will use and exploit to make of his life what he pleases. The struggle between these two forces, which reach its climax and victory, will lean towards the side of spirit. The struggle between these two forces will reach its climax, and victory will lean towards the side of the Spirit, who, in an absolute gift of the love of the Father, will say to them, Lord, I renounce my freedom of will. Do your will in me alone.
So, family, we were given free agency. But in order to live righteously, we have to keep these commandments. And if we can keep these commandments, then we are actually renouncing my free will to do the will of the Father. Now let's take a look at the seal portion, chapter 9, because we talked about those that made a vow or a commitment and asked, where are they? The seal portion, chapter 9, verse 4 says, in the beginning, there existed no priesthood of God, for all were equal, like unto the Son of God. Therefore, there was no need for this priesthood. Behold, there existed an order of saints that committed themselves to the plan that the Father had presented unto them. And this order of spirits promised the Father that they would follow the commandments of his Son, according to all things whatsoever he would command them. And this order became known as the Holy Order of the Son of God, having been organized and ordained by those spirits in the kingdom of the Father, who were the firm supporters of the plan of salvation as presented unto us by the Father. Back to the Third Testament, chapter 4, verse 24.
Therefore, the Master is drawing near to you anew to take up his teaching again. Already I see the new Pharisees and scribes rushing against me with hatred. Just then I will ask, where are my disciples? But when the proud, the false, the rich, who fear to lose their power, those who threatened by my truth, mock and persecute me again, wild storms will break out. But it will not be I who collapse under the weight of the cross, but those who demand the sacrifice of him who gave them life. The wave of materialism will rise and become a troubled sea, a sea of suffering, despair, and fear of the injustice of men. Only one boat will sail over that sea of passions, desires, and hatred of men, and that boat will be that of my law. Blessed are those who are strong when this time comes.
Third Testament, chapter 54, verse number 27. But woe to those who are sleeping. Woe to the weak. Woe to the peoples who have put their trust in foundations of religious fanaticism, for they will easily become the prey of those furious waves. Do you not foresee the battle, O mankind? Does not my word move you to prepare to defend yourselves when the hour has come? we're defending ourselves and make sure we don't fall into this false teachings. My light is in all, but only those who pray see it, those who prepare themselves. My light speaks to you by presentiment, by inspirations, by intuition, by dreams, and by pointing fingers. But you are deaf to every spiritual call, are indifferent to every divine sign. Soon you will see my word fulfilled and testify that all this was true. My teachings and my name will be the target of all attacks and persecutions. They will be the reason why the enemies of truth persecute you. But my teaching will also be the lightsaber of those who stand up and defend the faith. And it will be the shield behind which the innocent will find protection. My name will be on all lips, blessed by some and cursed by others.
The Third Testament, chapter 54 and 32. All man's ability will be unleashed.
What's going to be released?
All man's abilities will be unleashed. His intelligence, his feelings, his passions, his spiritual abilities will be awakened and ready to fight. What confusion there will be. How many who thought they believed in me will have to convince themselves that it was not true faith. In many homes and hearts, the light of love and hope will be extinguished. The children and the youth will have no other God than the world, nor any other law than that of the earth.
So let's look at this again. It says all man's abilities will be unleashed. And when we're talking about all the abilities, we're talking about righteous or wicked abilities that are going to be released. Righteous or wicked abilities will be released. And they're all going to be ready to fight. It says what confusion there's going to be during this time. But what's going to happen? It says the light of love and hope will be extinguished because everything that's taken place, light of love and the hope is going to be extinguished. This is going to be a messed up time. It says the children and the youth. We see what's going on right now with the children and the youth. But it says the children and the youth will have no other God than that of the world, nor any other law than that of the earth. We got to watch out for our children, family. We have to prepare our children for everything that is going to come, because we don't want them to be out there and crushed as everything comes about. Now, the book of remembrance of Melchizedek in Little Book 3, verse 95 says, and to the mothers of Maim, your children must emerge from tribulations, knowing how to be happy still, and how to love still. And they must know how to make the sounds of life still, and how to live together in harmony. We mentioned many times that it's important that we train the children. You must train your children. You must train your children. You must prepare your children. Because a lot of things that we have that are wicked, that our children enjoy, eventually these things are going to go away. When they go away, they should not be sad about these things going away. They should not be sad. It says in the Third Testament, chapter 54, talks about all this time of confusion. And it says in many homes and hearts, in many homes and hearts, it says the light of love and hope will be extinguished. And it says the children and the youth will have no other God than the world. We don't want that to be our children. We don't want that to be our youth. That's why we must not spare the rod. The rod is the word. That is why we must not spare the rod. We must give the children this word in their truth. We must let our children see us live this word. And it says, unto the mothers of Maim, your children must emerge from tribulations, knowing how to be happy. Not only being happy because we got these computer games that we play and all this other stuff that Satan gave us. Your children must emerge from tribulations, knowing how to be happy, and still how to love still. And they must know how to make the sounds of life still, and how to live together in harmony still. Now we have the law of Jeshurun. The law of Jeshurun, the 9th law says, the holiness of the tender spirits of your children must be carefully protected and given proper watch care so that they can be raised up with innocence of heart and purity into their adulthood. Let's go back and let's continue.
The Third Testament, chapter 54, verse 35. What will happen when men realize that their excessive love for the world and their reverence for the earthly have brought them to an unfortunate failure? They will try to rediscover the lost path, to seek out those principles and laws from which they had turned away. And in this endeavor, they will create doctrines for themselves. They will make prescriptions for themselves. Philosophies, worldviews, and theories will come up. All this will be the beginning of a new and great battle. Now, no longer prompted by the unfair strivings for earthly power, no more murderous weapons will destroy lives, destroy homes, or shed human blood. The battle will be different, for then the great religious community will fight against the new teachings and the new religions.
The great battle. We have a great battle that's going to take place. And we see that the beginning of a new and great battle, it says that no longer prompted by unfair strivings for earthly power. It says no more murderous weapons will destroy lives, destroy homes, or shed human blood. We see what's going to happen. It says the battle will be different. For then, the great religious communities will fight against the new teachings and the new religions. We see there's a lot of time left. A lot of things are going to happen over the next few generations. But now, because we have these different books, we can now start to piece things that are going to happen. We can begin to piece these things to see what is going to happen. Because we can see things that are going to happen during the next generations. Now, let's look at this here great battle. And the Third Testament, chapter 33, we're going to take a look at, starting at verse number 61 down through 64. It says, verily, I say to you, it shall be conscience and reason that lead you on the right path. Did you hear this? It shall be conscience and reason. Conscience and reason. I did a post on Facebook, and this post on Facebook talked about why we had to go to these schools. Because you're not taught to think. You are not taught to listen to your conscience, or you are not taught to use your common sense and reason. You are taught to believe everything that Satan's schools teach you and to regurgitate this information back to others. And that's why we see here, it says, verily I say unto you, it shall be conscience and reason that leads you on the right path, not all of the lies that we have been taught. Verse 62, blessed innocence is infected by the depravity of the world. Blessed innocence is infected by the depravity of the world. They put us in these schools to mess us up. The young people follow their path in breathtaking run, and even the virgins have lost shame, chastity, and modesty. All these virtues have disappeared from their hearts. They have nourished the worldly passions and only desire the pleasures that lead them to ruin. I speak to you in all clarity so that you may set out and take a firm step in the development of your spirit. Ignite in youth the love of neighbor. Teach your children, family. Ignite in them the love of neighbor. Give great and noble ideas, for it will be the youth. Give great and noble ideals, for it will be the youth who tomorrow, it will be the youth who tomorrow, it will be the youth who tomorrow will fight to achieve an existence in which justice, love, and the Holy Spirit's holy freedom shine forth. Prepare yourselves for the great battle of which the prophecies speak has not yet come. Family, this is a future prophecy. And we see that our children, our grandchildren, will be dealing with this future prophecy. Let's go to the Third Testament, chapter 39, verses number 11, and we'll go down through 18. It says, whenever I come down to give my word, I find last among the multitudes, they are those who ask me most in their hearts, but I am to their liking, but I am to their liking, and always answers their questions. Today, those who came last ask me, what is the purpose of my return? Listen to that. It says, today, those who came last ask me, what is the purpose of my return? To which I answer that the purpose is to enable man to return to his original purity through himself. You see why Christ is returning? He just told you himself. He did not say he's coming to kill people, destroy people, or anything like that. The purpose is to enable man to return to his original purity through himself. How are we returning back to our original purity? Through ourselves. He's giving us this word. And now we, through ourselves, make a conscious decision now to follow the ways of Christ. So a lot of things are going to be eliminated. In the Third Testament, chapter 39, I'm going to read starting at verse number 13. The third age has fully dawned for mankind. About 2,000 years have passed since I gave you my word. But that teaching, despite the time that has passed, has not yet been recognized by all mankind. Because I am not loved by all my children, yet all worship me. All seek one divine spirit, who is mine. But I see no unity among men. I do not see among them the same faith, the same elevation and knowledge. And therefore, I come as Holy Spirit to unite them in me, to perfect them with my teaching of truth, with my immutable word, with my law of love and justice. Now we see why Christ is here. The clouding of the mind, the lack of faith, the ignorance of truth, the darkness to the spirit. And that is why mankind today is on an erroneous path. How have those men multiplied who live without knowing or wanting to know where they're going? I knew that such a time would come from men full of pain, confusion, insecurity, and mistrust. I promise to rescue you from this darkness. I promise to rescue you from this darkness. And here I am. I am the Spirit of truth. Why do you want me again as man? Do you not remember that I died as man and told you that I would expect you in my kingdom? With this, I made you understand that the Spirit is eternal, immortal. My word in this time reminds you of the past, reveals to you the secrets, and announces to you what is to come. It will set right all that man have bent. It will set right all that man have bent and debilitated. For I, as the keeper of the truth, come with the sword of my zeal, and my righteousness to tear down all that is false, to crush hypocrisy and falsehood, to drive out again the merchants from the temple of truth. Understand that you need not seek the truth in books, advice, or commandments of men to achieve your spiritual ascent. All of you must be saved. All of you must be saved. All of you must be saved. This doesn't say just the righteous and trash the wicked. It says all of you must be saved. I do not discover one who is already on solid ground. You are shipwrecked in the midst of a stormy night in which everyone is struggling for his own life without thinking of his neighbor, because his life is in danger. Now let's take a look at the Third Testament, chapter 41, verse 52 says, in order that this humanity may defend itself and free itself from the bad influences, it needs knowledge of the truth that surrounds it. It must learn to pray with the Spirit. And it must also know what abilities its being is endowed. It must know what abilities its being is endowed with in order to be able to use it as a weapon. These are spiritual weapons. In this great battle of good against evil, of light against darkness, of spiritualization against materialism.
Let's look at the Third Testament 54 and 37. Who will win this battle? No religion will emerge victorious from this battle, just as no nation will remain victorious in this murderous war you are suffering today. No nation will remain victorious in this murderous war you are suffering today. Over the war for earthly supremacy, my righteousness will prevail. And later, in that battle, to impose any doctrine or religion, my truth will prevail. The only and supreme truth will shine out of like the light of a flash in a stormy night. And everyone will see this divine flash of light in the place where he is.
So everyone is going to see this divine flash of light. It says the only and supreme truth will shine. Let's take a look at this supreme truth. The Third Testament, chapter 1. Let's take a look at verse number 12 through 14. The seed of that supreme truth was sown forever in the heart of mankind. Christ was the sower, and he still tends his seed. Did you hear that? That's all of us, the righteous and the wicked. Christ was the sower, and it says he still tends his seed. Afterward, he will bring forth his fruit and rejoice in it forever. Then he will no longer say in his words, I am hungry, or I am thirsty. For at last his children will love him, as he loved them since the beginning. Who speaks to you about Christ's disciples? He himself. It is I, the Word, that speaks to you anew, mankind. Know me. Do not doubt my presence because of the inconspicuousness in which I show myself. Do not doubt my presence because of the inconspicuousness in which I show myself. People can't even see him. With me, there can be no pride. Now let's look at the Third Testament, chapter 23. We're still looking at supreme truth. Third Testament, chapter 23, verse 29 and 32. It says, the spiritual vibrations and inspirations were within them. And both the first and the last have given and will give witness to this inspiration that has come to their spirit, almost always without knowing how. In the same way that it is happening to many today, and it will happen to others tomorrow. Remember, I said everyone's going to be waking up at different times. The words, The interpretations and the manner of acting are due to men and the times in which they live. But above all, there is the supreme truth. From time to time, it is necessary that my spirit manifest itself in some way, accessible and understandable to your comprehension. Did you hear that? It says, from time to time, it is necessary that my spirit manifest itself in some way, accessible and understandable to your comprehension. To your comprehension. This necessity to speak to you is based on your disobedience to my law. Did you hear why it's necessary that he talks to you? This necessity to speak to you is based on your disobedience to my law. You see, he's waking up everyone, the righteous and the wicked. Your devotion from the true way. Man is the most rebellious thing in creation because of the freedom of will he enjoys. To this day, he has not wanted to submit to the instructions of his conscience.
Revelations chapter 1, verse 7.
So we are looking at and understanding every eye will see me.
Revelations chapter 1, verse 7. Behold, he cometh in the clouds with tens of thousands of his saints from the kingdom of God, clothed with the glory of his Father, and every eye shall see him, and they also who pierced him and rejected the word that he gave unto them by his own mouth and by the mouths of his 7 servants, which he hath sent unto the 7 churches. And all kindreds of the earth who worship the prince of the kings of the earth shall wail because of him. Even so, amen. The Third Testament, chapter 3, verse 14. Jesus said to his disciples, I will be away from you only a short time. I will return. Then it was revealed to them that their master would come on the cloud, surrounded by angels, sending down rays of light to earth. The Third Testament, chapter 3, verse 15. Here I am now on the cloud, surrounded by angels, who are the spiritual beings who have manifested themselves among you as messengers of my divinity and as your good counselors. The rays of light are my word, which brings you new revelations, which overflows every mind with wisdom. The Third Testament, chapter 2, verse 6. I did not come as man, but spiritually limited in a ray of light to let it rest on a human mind. I did not come as a man, but spiritually limited in a ray of light to let it rest on a human mind. This is the means chosen by my will to speak to you at this time, and I will give you credit for the faith you have in this word. The Third Testament, chapter 4, verse 59. My word has not become man again. My word has not become man again. In this time, I am on the cloud, the symbol of the hereafter, from which my ray proceeds, which illuminates the mind of the voice bearer. The Third Testament, chapter 7, verse 66. This is the time when men will open their eyes to the light of my wisdom, a light which I have turned into teaching, so that through it you may rise spiritually to truth.
So now, family, we understand why every eye is going to see him. We see that Christ is here in the spirit, and a lot of things are taking place in the background, in our minds and in our conscience. The Third Testament, chapter 54. Let's take a look at verse number 40. My message will reach all, and you will all come to me. My message will reach all, and you will all come to me. I have prepared everything for the times to come, and on all will my will be done. And on all will my will be done, because I am the Lord of spirits, of worlds, of races and peoples. This time to come, family, we have to understand. Third Testament, chapter 45, verse number 23. Earn a good reward by growing a good fruit for your fellow men. Prepare yourselves for the times to come, because before my departure, there will still be discord among you, because temptation approaches you all. You must be watchful. Pray and put my teaching into practice. Verily I tell you, these short periods of time that you devote to the pursuit of goodness will make its beneficial effects felt in many of the generations to come. Did you hear this? Did you hear what he said? It says, verily I tell you, these short periods of time that you devote to the pursuit of goodness will make its beneficial effects felt in many of the generations to come after you. No one has been able or will ever be able to determine his or her own destiny. It is mine alone. Trust in my will. Trust in my will. And you will cover the path of life to the end without greater difficulties. Third Testament, chapter 64, verse 9 and 10. It says, much of what I have spoken to you in this time is prophecy. Did you hear this? Much of what I have spoken to you in this time is prophecy. He's prophesying of what else is to come. He's prophesying of what else is to come. People think the prophecies have all been fulfilled, and they just don't understand. Sometimes referring to times to come, sometimes to times to come. Therefore, many people do not want to attach any importance to this divine message. Isn't it so true? A lot of people are reading these books but aren't reading this. It says, therefore, many people do not want to attach any importance to this divine message. People have these books and won't read it. They just disregard it and toss it to the side. They pick and choose what they want to believe. Verse 10. But this word will rise full of light among the people of the coming times, who will recognize and discover in it great revelations, the accuracy and perfection of which will astonish scientists. So we got to be careful. We have all this information. We cannot just ignore and just choose the information that we want to believe. We talked about, several months ago, how when we realized that we still had a whole lot more time, how depressed we were. But we understand because this word has to go throughout the whole world. And we see that it says in the scriptures 4 more generations before this word even goes all the way around the world. So we came to terms with that. A lot of people that have these books do not want to come to terms with that. And therefore, they're only going to find whatever they find so that they can believe what they want to believe. But you see, I just read it here in the Third Testament. I just read it here in the Third Testament. Therefore, many people do not want to attach any importance to this divine message. We can't ignore anything because we're still fighting. There's still a spiritual fight that is taking place. And we understand about the angels of the fourth station. We understand the angel of the fourth station, the Irkadeshi, they're here to help us. Third Testament, chapter 54.
The Third Testament, chapter 54, verse 41. The spiritual world will come even closer to men to testify to their existence and their presence. Signs, proof, revelations, and messages will appear everywhere, which will persistently speak to the dawning of a new age.
Okay, let's hold on a second. We must remember everything is spiritual. It just said that the spiritual world will come even closer to men. And we understand now the angel of the fourth station are here. We understand Christ is here. We understand about the Irkadeshi. And everything is trying to gently speak to us. Everything is speaking to us. These are the signs, proofs, revelations, and messages. And it says they will appear everywhere, which will persistently speak of the dawning new age. That dawning new age is an age of peace that is coming. Go ahead.
The spiritual world. The Third Testament, chapter 41, verse 16 to 26. Tomorrow, when the knowledge of the spiritual life has spread throughout the world, mankind will recognize the importance of those beings at your side, and men will bless my providence. Verily, I tell you, if your faith were firm, you would not have the desire to feel the presence of the spiritual with the sense of the flesh. If your faith were firm, you would not have the desire to feel the presence of the spiritual with the senses of the flesh, because then it would be the spirit who with his fine sensitivity would perceive that world that is constantly pulsating around you. Yes, humanity, if you feel yourself far from the spiritual world, those beings cannot feel themselves far from men. For there are for them no distance, no limits, and no obstacles. They live in the spiritual, and therefore they cannot be remote from the life of human beings, whose highest destiny is that our upward development and perfection of the spirit. The only distance that exists between you and God, or between you and a spirit being, is not a material distance, but a spiritual one, caused by your lack of preparation, purity, or willingness to receive inspiration and spiritual influence. Never put that distance between you and your master, or between you and the spiritual world, and you will always enjoy the benefits which my love pours out upon those who know how to seek them. You will always feel that the spiritual world is close to the heart of those who prepare to feel it.
Read that sentence again.
You will always feel that the spiritual world is close to the heart of those who prepare to feel it. How great is the distance that mankind puts between itself and the spiritual life at this time? It is so great that people of today therefore feel God infinitely far from them and consider the kingdom of heaven to be far away and unreachable. I tell you that there is not a human mind that does not live under the influence of the spiritual world. Many will deny this, but no one will be able to prove that it is impossible for man's mind to receive the thoughts and vibrations not only of the spirit beings and his own fellows, but also of mine.
So, when it talks about these thoughts and vibrations, not only of the spirit beings are the angels of the fourth station, the Erkadeshi. They're communicating with us if you can feel them during this time.
Mm-hmm.
Let's continue.
This is a revelation of all mankind, a revelation which, when it is spread, will find open hearts that will receive it with joy. Likewise, will it encounter
They're going to receive it with great joy.
Likewise, it encounters stubborn opponents and fighters. But what will these be able to do to prevent the light of the spiritual kingdom from shining in the lives of men? What means will the unbelievers be able to use to switch off that vibration? Who is he who considers himself to be outside the universal influence, which is the creative and invigorating power of God? I speak to your conscience, to your spirit, and to your reason. But I tell you again that you receive messages, ideas, and inspirations from other planes of existence. And that just as you do not know where your spirit came from to incarnate in this your body, and that just as you do not know where your spirit came from to incarnate in this your body, so you do not know who is manifesting himself to it invisibly and impallibly.
So, they're telling us right now about the spirits
Mm-hmm.
that are all around us.
Mm-hmm.
This is why it's important, family, that we read from all these books.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a big puzzle that we must put together. Now, because we understand about the Erkadeshi,
Mm-hmm.
we understand about the angels of the fourth station,
Mm-hmm.
this just makes clearer sense to us.
Yes.
So now, we have the fight of the spirits for the people. Let's take a look at the Third Testament, chapter 41. We're going to read from verse 48 through 53. It says, beyond your human life exists a world of spirits, your brothers and sisters, beings invisible to man, who fight among themselves to conquer you. So we looked and we talked about the angels of the fourth station, but we also understand there are also wicked spirits here with us too.
Mm-hmm.
That fight has its reason in the difference of development in which the one and the other find themselves. While the beings of light, sustained by the ideal of love, harmony, peace, and perfection, sprinkle the path of mankind with light, always inspiring the good and revealing to all that is good in mankind. Now, the beings who still cling to the materialism of the earth sow the seeds of darkness, who have not been able to free themselves from their selfishness and their love for the world, or which indefinitely nourishes human addictions and inclinations. The path of men with confusion, obscuring the mind, blinding the heart, enslaving the will, to use men and make them instruments of their plans, or to use them as if they were their own bodies. While the spiritual world of light seeks to win the spirit of men, to open a breach to eternity for him, while those blessed hosts ceaselessly toil, they ceaselessly fight to increase in love, become nurses at the painful camp, counselors at the side of man who bears the burden of a great responsibility, becomes advisors to youth, protectors of children, companions of those who forget to live alone, companions of those who forget and live alone. The legions of beings without the light of spiritual wisdom and without the uplifting feeling of love, likewise, work unceasingly among men. But their aim is not to make the way to the spiritual kingdom easier for you. Did you hear that? No. The intention of these beings is completely the opposite. Their ambition is to rule the world, to continue to be the masters of it, to eternalize themselves on earth, to dominate men, and to make them slaves and instruments of their will. In one word, not to let what they always regarded as theirs be taken away from them, the world. So then, disciples, among the one and the other beings, a fierce battle is waging. A battle which your bodily eyes cannot see.
Read that again.
Got a fierce battle, family, that's waving. A battle that your bodily eyes cannot see, but whose reflections can be felt day by day in your world. In order that this humanity may defend itself and free itself from the bad influences, it needs knowledge of the truth that surrounds it. It must learn to pray with the Spirit. And it must also know what abilities its being is endowed with in order to be able to use it as a weapon in this great battle of good against evil, of light against darkness, against spiritualization and materialism. It is precisely the spiritual world of light that works and fights and prepares everything so that the world may one day set out on the way to spiritualization. So, we got righteous angels, we got wicked angels. Let's take a look at these angels from the fourth station.
The Book of Remembrance of Melchizedek, Melchizedek chapter 12, verse 109. And I will see to it that before the righteous who abide in me, There will go before them this order of Melchizedek, and I myself will feel the duties of this calling.
Will fill the duties.
And I myself will feel the duties of this calling
That's right.
in my walk in the flesh. And I have also come here this day to establish a second important aspect of the holy order, and that is an order called the Order of Zedekiah. Melchizedek and Zedekiah are the names that are given them by the Council of Elder because they are establishing Shabuah. And this describes an order of service that is to be accomplished while they are in the flesh.
Where is it established?
It is established
While they are
in the flesh.
Yes.
But the father, Anochseed, named them Michael and Giira for what they will accomplish in the next life, to show forth their calling in heaven. And from heaven, Michael will direct all of your multitudes of hosts as he puts forth his hand to marshal all of you upon the earth to come to the aid and the people of righteousness. And Michael will direct all of the multitude of hosts as he puts forth his hands to marshal all of you upon the earth to come to my aid and the people of my righteousness. And by this means, my arm will be revealed before the eyes of all the peoples and nations at the moment of my choosing in the times of tribulation. And the kingdoms of this world will fade away with the dominion of evil and from before the face of the Father.
And from heaven, Giira will direct all the host of the abiding angels, emerging in their service from the fourth station, to marshal them to come to my aid in my need to protect the righteous from the cruel and evil dominion of the host of darkness in their times of distress when pressed upon by the wicked. And by these means, our father Anochseed will deliver his people. And at that time of the lighting down of my arm upon the earth, and Giira and all her host will accompany and guide the righteous to safety in times of trouble and danger.
The Book of Remembrance of Melchizedek, the Little Book 3 and verse 73. And it will come to pass that the 4 living spirits of the directions will be loosed to perform their work, and they will act in concert together to form a whole and complete element of righteousness, and they will join themselves together to come to the aid of all the Urkadeshi in creation and all the abiding angels from the fourth station, to bring the course of agency among all children of men to come to the full.
Now let's go back to the Third Testament, chapter 54. We're going to take a look at verse number 42 now. There will be strife. There will be agitation in the nations because the religious leaders will spread fear among those who believe in those messages, and science will declare those facts untrue. Then the common people will take courage and will rise up to bear witness to the truth of the proofs they have received. There will rise those who are abandoned by science, regaining their health in a spiritual way. Let me read that again. There will be those who are abandoned by science regain their health in a spiritual way. And they will bear witness to miraculous healings. They will bear witness. They will bear witness to miraculous healings. These are spiritual things, these miraculous healings, to revelations of an infinite power and an absolute wisdom. Now let's get some understanding, because when it talks about regaining health, it talks about this miraculous healing. We have to understand these are things for our spirit, not physical things for your health. Let's go to Matthew chapter 10, the restored version. Let's take a look at verse number 8. It says, "Behold, I am the way, the truth, and the light. Even those things which I have given unto you shall heal the sick, cleanse the leper, raise the dead, and cast out devils." Now pay attention, family. "And these things ye shall do to their souls, in similitude of what I have done unto their bodies. Be not like those who make people, be not like those who make the people sick. For their leaders charge a price for that which they poison the people. Ye have freely received, therefore freely give." Let's go back to the Third Testament, chapter 54. Verse 44. "Among the simple and unknown people, men and women will arise, whose word full of light will surprise theologians. It will surprise the philosophers. It's going to surprise the scientists. But when the conversation is at its greatest, the poor are the controversy at its greatest." Let me read that again. "But when the controversy is at its greatest, and the poor are humiliated, and their testimonies denied by the proud, the moment will come when Elijah will call." They're going to call these so-called people that call themselves learned. Elijah will call the learned, the lords, and the rulers to account and to subject them to trial. Woe to the false and the hypocrites in that hour, for perfect righteousness will then come down to them.
The seal portion, chapter 24, verse 117. "And the Lord hath promised that in the latter days he shall plant in the hearts of the children the promises made to the fathers, and the hearts of the children shall turn to their fathers." The seal portion, chapter 31, verse 11. "Therefore the Father hath chosen a time when peace shall be taken from the earth, for the last time, and Lucifer shall have power over his own dominions. And at this time the plan of Lucifer shall be shown in its full effect unto the children of God, whether they are alive in mortality, or alive according to the manner of the Spirit in the dimensions of the spirit world. Yea, all the children of God shall witness these last days and see the plan of Lucifer in his glory."
So right now, we're watching a plan of Lucifer, and all those that have passed from the spirit world, they are watching all this mess also.
"And after it have failed miserably, then shall every knee bow, and every tongue confess that the plan of salvation, which was given unto us by the Father, is the only plan that is possible, whereby we might have eternal peace and happiness, even that eternal joy that the Father hath promised unto us of all in the beginning."
So the Father hath promised unto all of us this here
Peace
eternal peace
and happiness.
and happiness, and even that eternal joy. He promised this to all of us in the beginning. Let's take a look at the Third Testament, chapter 54, verse number 46. It will be the hour of judgment, but many spirit beings will rise from it to true life. Many hearts will rise to faith, and many eyes will be opened to the light. This is what we can expect, family. This is what we are going to see.
Yes.
It's sad because of all the lies that are being taught in their ignorance.
And we can see so much of this, already coming to pass, already in progress. But it's like, because people won't read these books and believe this word, it's like they're just walking in blindness.
They're walking
with blinders on. Absolutely.
Well, family, we made it to the end. We love you.
We love you, family.
We appreciate you. And we pray that you're able to receive this message.
And family, pray, go back and listen to this video again. Pray. We know we should be praying for everybody right now. And share this video. Share this video with your loved ones to give people more wisdom and more understanding.
Especially for this time. All right, family. With that said,
thank you, family, for joining us.
And we love you.
We love y'all.
Shalom.
Shalom. Shalom, family.